we started off not just making a few records. It wasn't even about the money. It wasn't about nothing, but just making some records that we like to do. And now, you know, a movie, 26 years later, with the same Straight Outta Compton, it's amazing.
Do you think that the problems that you were singing about, that you were performing and writing about when N.W.A. began are still around today?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's still the same. I mean, it's still racism. That's gonna always be around. But you know, it's just now people, you know, because everybody got cell phones, so now they can witness it every day. Something new is popping up, and it's just amazing. You know, the cops got body cams, car cams, and they still doing this. I'm just like, you know, people in the back running away. They're not a threat if they're running away. I don't think they are. Not if they're shooting backwards or something. But it's amazing it's still going on.
When you think back to when N.W.A. was formed, and you think back to what you were writing about, what was the source of the anger toward police at the time?
I mean, the source was outside our front door. It just, you can't even walk down the street or just drive in a car with 2 or 3 people, you know, black. You know, you're gonna get harassed. You're gonna get pulled over. We in front of the studio and get on the ground, you know, like we're not supposed to be in Torrance, you know, because our studio was in Torrance. So if we go to the store right down the street, we getting harassed all the time. And it's just, why? You know, that's our anger. It's just like, why are you messing with us?
Were you surprised when you started 26 years ago that you really hit a nerve with people and you spoke to their anger as well?
I mean, we was really surprised, especially when we got the letter from the FBI. I'm like, wow, we really did something.
What was the letter from the FBI?
It was saying that, you know, about we incite violence or against the police or something like that, you know, but then what happened was another agency sent them a letter. You can't tell us, you know, it's our rights. We can say what we want. We ain't saying going out, kill cops, no, that was not our message. Our message was just what they was doing to us.
What do those words say to you when you listen to them?
It just says, we tired of the BS. You know, you've been harassing and beating on us for so long for no reason. You know, just, I see if we was doing some kind of crime, but we wasn't doing nothing. And a lot of times back in the day, in the ghetto, they wasn't doing nothing. You look at the stuff now, the people, some of them may do a little something, but you gotta shoot him 8 times in the back, or like, come on. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't know what's going on. It just seems like it's building up for something. I don't know what.
Do you have kids?
Yeah.
As a parent, we always want our kids to have a better life.
Yeah.
Does it make you sad to think that your kids could experience some of the very same issues that you experienced?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's even closer. So, you know, the best advice is do what they ask. They say stand on one leg, stand on one leg. It's that simple. You be embarrassed for a minute, but you get to walk away and go home. That's what the key is.
The music world is numb today, stunned by the violent death of gangster rapper Notorious B.I.G. The tragedy happened here outside of the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles, where the rapper, also known as Biggie Smalls, was attending a Vibe magazine party for the Soul Train Awards. Now, shortly after midnight Saturday, Notorious B.I.G. left the party and got into his car when another car rolled by and shots rang out. At least 5 bullets ripped through the door, killing B.I.G., who was sitting in the passenger seat. Dozens of heavily armed cops arrived on the scene as word of the shooting spread. The bullet holes in Biggie's vehicle are mute testimony to the gang-style drive-by shooting that took the life of the Brooklyn-born rapper, whose real name is Christopher Wallace. Smalls was rushed in his bullet-riddled vehicle to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Dozens of fans, many overcome with grief, held a vigil at the hospital.
They've got a number of individuals that they're speaking to right now, and we're hopeful that we can resolve this matter relatively soon.
These are pictures of the 24-year-old Biggie at the Vibe party just hours before he was killed. Eerie images of a man who had no idea of the violent fate awaiting him. Biggie Smalls was larger than life. The robust rapper was 6'3", almost 300 pounds. He was loud and boastful, known for talking trash. His music was apparently a reflection of his real-life experiences. Biggie made no secret he once lived a life of crime, even selling crack on the tough streets of Brooklyn's Bedford-Stuyvesant section, where he grew up. His debut album, Ready to Die, was an immediate platinum hit, selling more than 1 million copies. The CD thrust Biggie into the stratosphere of rap music. Batari Kitwana is the editor of the hip-hop magazine The Source, where Biggie appears on the current cover.
Definitely, as an artist, he is at the height of the game in terms of his understanding of the art form, in terms of his popularity, not just in New York, but nationally.
Biggie Smalls was also embroiled in a rivalry between East and West Coast rappers. His competition, Tupac Shakur, who once accused Biggie of involvement in a 1994 robbery in which Shakur was shot several times. Biggie denied those charges. More recently, the two men battled verbally over this woman, singer Faith Evans, estranged wife of Biggie Smalls and the mother of his child. Shakur claimed in his music to have had a steamy romance with Evans. She reportedly witnessed Biggie's murder Saturday night, almost a carbon copy of Tupac's death in September. Ironically, Biggie Smalls' upcoming album is titled Life After Death. A startling ad shows Smalls posing in a graveyard near a tombstone reflecting his likeness. So far, no arrests have been made in the killing of Notorious B.I.G., and the murder has shaken the rap world, which has once again lost a star to violence.
The music business is just one of my businesses, but my main business is trailblazing and getting people to believe in themselves and think for themselves, which is the opposite of most constitutions and traditions that we've been taught.
That don't kill me, can only make me stronger. I need you to hurry up now, 'cause I can't wait much longer. I know I got to be right.
You know, on my albums, I'll have like controversial ideas, funny quotes, anecdotes and everything, and people really enjoy it and dance to it and everything. Second, I come with this, non-media trained, unconventional thought, and sit and do these interviews and speak to these cameras. Editors love to chop it up and make me look as crazy as possible. Whenever it's an idea that's not what everyone else is thinking at the same time. They try to make me look crazy, like it says, would you believe in what you believed in if no one else believed in it? Now, this is the opportunity to take my quotes for the first time and package them the same way I package my music. And people read this and they're like, wow, like I kind of understand, where he's coming from. And where I'm coming from is not to just tell people that I'm the greatest. I want people to say that they're the greatest. I want people to believe in themselves and have confidence and believe in their flyness and conquer their shyness. That's my point. That's, I think, the greatest thing that my brand will bring to the world, for people to believe that they can do it and be more than just, in black and white or a sheep in a herd.
Excuse me, was you saying something? You can't tell me nothing.
When people would ask me questions about myself when I first came in the game, what came off arrogant was the honesty of the answers. Think about me 6 years from now, predicting that I would be who I am now. It's delusional to the mortals. It's the mortal mind. It's to be beaten to the mortal mind, because the society and culture, we've been beaten into these mental prisons. It's that idea where people don't want to go to certain neighborhoods because they're afraid of this. I'm not going to travel to Brazil because I'm afraid of this, and I'm not going to travel to Cuba because I'm afraid of this. It's like everything is based off fear. The recession is based off fear. And this book is not about fear, it's about confidence. It's about believing that you can overcome.
What is it like to prove people wrong?
I mean, now it's just the norm for me, When I realized it's like, forgive them for they know not what they do. I wrote in a blog, when I came back from Paris one time, it's like, I forgive people because they're basing their thought off the things they were taught and not making an opinion, based on themselves. Like, okay, color combination. And I realized that certain colors represent things. Everything represents something, and people want to drag and click people into folders. Black rap, black this guy and stuff, woman, she's this type of girl, you know, Americans are like this, okay? Oh, now Barack's president, oh, Americans are cool again. So everyone wants to classify, but you know, I can't be defined by any profession or genre that I'm in. And people aren't defined, people are dynamic. And it's more to someone. You can look at, you know, a stripper or something, and it's more to that person than just that profession. You can look at a rapper, it's more to that person.
My name is Slim Shady.
His music is confrontational and controversial, poking fun at gays, demeaning women, ridiculing the likes of Britney Spears and the endless array of boy bands. But Eminem saves most of his vitriol for this woman.
So it does hurt. And God knows I don't deserve it.
Marshall Mathers, a.k.a. Eminem, in song he imagines raping this woman, calls her a druggie, and according to her, has made her a pariah in the eyes of his fans.
When you can't go to the mob for being spit on and being called, you know, you disgusting pig, it's sad because people are passing judgment by listening to Marshall's songs.
And this subject of Eminem's scorn is his own mother.
99% of my life I was lied to. I just found out my mom does more than I do.
He needs to quit demeaning me. He needs to quit, you know, making attacks on me. I mean, you don't do this to your mom. And it is so hard.
Now, Debbie Mathers is talking publicly for the first time since her famous son skewered her in song. And she's fighting back both in court, filing a $10 million slander suit against him, and with her own music.
We have a problem, Marshall. The past 2 years, something really went wrong.
In a new CD called Set the Record Straight, Debbie Mathers, more of a reader than a rapper, delivers a message to her golden-haired son.
Will the real Marshall Mathers please stand up and take responsibility for his actions? With the release of the CD, it was one of the ways for me to get my feelings out there to my son and the public.
This is the house right here?
Yeah, that's a house. It's changed. There were not.
His is a classic rags to riches story. Marshall Mathers' parents were divorced. He was raised by his mother in this working-class neighborhood of Detroit.
He was spoiled rotten. Anything he wanted, I made sure that I'd take my last dime and get it for him. I mean, he was my only child for 14 years.
Marshall Mathers has a half-brother who hopes to follow in his footsteps. Eminem honed his skills as a rapper in his teenage years. His mom thinks much of the anger in his music is an act aimed at convincing the hip-hop world that he's not another privileged pretender born with a silver spoon in his mouth.
I think Marshall wanted to portray this really bad image of, like, we never had a place to stay, we lived off relatives, I never worked a day in my life.
But what of the other nasty things he says about his own mother?
He says you were neglectful.
No.
Pill popping.
No.
Welfare collecting.
No.
I'm so sick and tired of being admired.
When you hear his lyrics, though, it's hard to believe there was no dysfunction in Eminem's upbringing. But Debbie says she's at a loss as to why he says the things he does.
I wish to God I knew why. I really do. Because it is really heartbreaking.
But in response to the slander suit filed by his mother, Eminem's lawyer has said, quote, Eminem's life is reflected in his music. Everything he has said can be verified as true. But despite her lawsuit against Eminem, his mom says she'll stand by him in spirit and in song.
Someday, I gotta fall. And I just hope to God I'm there to help you. I want to just get him in a room and sit down and say, look, you know, you've got to stop this. I mean, your anger and your hostilities towards me, what have I really actually done to you? You know, where did I go wrong?
With their unique, eclectic sound, the Beastie Boys took hip-hop in a new direction. After years of blasting the airwaves with their urban ear candy, these New York rappers have taken on a bigger agenda: human rights.
Something has to be done immediately.
Their specific target is Tibet. In 1949, China invaded the country, driving out more than 100,000 people. 1 million Tibetans were murdered in the upheaval.
It's, for the most part, a nonviolent struggle in the tradition of Martin Luther King or Gandhi.
I sat down with Beastie Boy Adam Yauch in Do-Kam, a Tibetan craft store in New York City. His interest in the Tibetan struggle dates back to a trip he took to neighboring Nepal in 1989.
I wanted to travel somewhere where people were more open about religion and spirituality. I just felt like in America there were a lot of strange ideas surrounding it, and I was just interested in visiting some other cultures where just seeing what it looked like. I don't really know exactly why, just going to check it out. The thing that was scary to see is just how oppressed they are by the Chinese, how they're not free, they don't have freedom of speech, they don't have freedom of religion.
What can I do as an individual to help free Tibet?
Well, the first thing is just getting educated on it.
Educate is exactly what the Beasties did. This summer, they staged a 2-day Tibetan freedom concert in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park. The mega concert drew more than 100,000 young people, featuring acts like the Fugees, Smashing Pumpkins, and the Beastie Boys.
I think the things that are really significant about the struggle is the nonviolence, and just the Tibetans' understanding and culture, the way they conduct themselves, I really believe is what the rest of the world needs. And so by focusing on that, I feel like I've learned a tremendous amount about myself. I enjoy my life more. There's really only a couple years left that Tibetan culture is going to survive unless something starts changing that. I mean, at the rate that their culture is being destroyed, there's very little time left. And I think we all have a responsibility to do that because it is part of our world and we do affect it, and to ignore it is to contribute to it.
So how we gonna kick it roof down? Yeah, how you wanna kick it? Gonna kick it roof down. So how you gonna kick it? Gonna kick it roof down. Gonna break it all down. Gonna kick it roof down.
I guess my hope is that somehow through focusing on Tibet and through Tibet becoming free, we'll start to see through that misconception, and we'll start to realize more of our interdependent nature, and that this world will become a real different place.